In 2024, the government of New York City hired one of the most prestigious management consulting firms in the world to solve a highly visible municipal problem. The issue in question was the logistical challenge of figuring out how to put rubbish into a bin. McKinsey & Company accepted the challenge. This is the legendary firm that advises Fortune 500 CEOs and heads of state. After months of interviews, deep data analysis, and spreadsheet cleaning, they returned to the city with a shining 80-page slide deck. The core recommendation of this study was a concept called containerization. The idea was that putting garbage inside closed plastic bins would prevent rodents from eating it, make the streets look cleaner, and free up space for pedestrians. Contracting an elite firm to discover that trash goes inside a bin sets up a truly bizarre economic mystery. We have to look at why a city would pay an absolute premium for such an obvious solution. For this specific revelation, the city paid McKinsey exactly $4 million. This diagram breaks down the math of that invoice. When you divide the $4 million total by the 80 pages in the final report, it comes out to roughly $42,000 for every single slide. Paying a 20-something Ivy League graduate a fortune to make trash cans sound like a cutting-edge innovation looks like a joke. But this absurd invoice highlights a highly profitable, systemic reality that has dominated the corporate world for decades. Management consulting did not become a multi-billion-dollar industry because clients lacked internal intelligence. Over the last 50 years, the industry grew by manufacturing and selling a very specific product: prestige. Firms like McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group, and Bain operated as the ultimate arbiters of corporate intellect. This visualization shows how their brand actually functions. It acts as an expensive shell that guarantees absolute authority and locks decisions away from external scrutiny. Their massive valuation relies entirely on selling this untouchable brand reputation, rather than providing actionable innovation. When a modern CEO needs to execute a highly risky strategy, like laying off 10% of the workforce, or justifying a massive merger, they rarely make the decision directly. The massive consulting invoice is actually a premium paid for political cover and executive insurance. To mitigate career risk, a CEO outsources the decision to a prestigious firm's report. There is an old corporate saying, "Nobody ever got fired for hiring McKinsey." If the project succeeds, the executives take the credit. If it collapses, they absorb the blame by pointing to the expensive slides and declaring they followed the best advice money could buy. The consulting industry serves as a highly paid scapegoat, protecting executives from the consequences of their own risky leadership. Over the last 18 months, the protective shield of corporate prestige has begun to fracture. The industry is seeing rapid internal decline. Layoffs are sweeping through the big consultancies, partners are quietly cutting fees, and the pipeline for prestigious projects is drying up. Standard tactics like producing thicker, more polished slide decks are completely useless against this specific crisis. A new layer of office automation is now capable of replicating the manual labor used to justify these massive fees. When an algorithm performs the data cleaning and slide creation in seconds, the expert rigor used to hide the prestige product disappears. As the labor is commoditized, the $4 million price tag is exposed as a fee for a political shield that boards are no longer willing to buy. The industry's monopoly on authority is collapsing because the work itself has become transparent. Look back to the 1990s, and corporate America was in the middle of a massive structural teardown. The federal government was pulling back regulations that had kept sectors like banking, energy, and telecom isolated for decades. Without those barriers, massive companies suddenly collided into each other. In under 10 years, U.S. mergers ballooned from $200 billion to over $1.7 trillion, larger than Canada's GDP. But merging companies creates chaos. Corporations suddenly had duplicate finance departments, overlapping HR systems, and a bloated payroll. Executives were trapped. If they aggressively slashed overlapping departments, they risked cutting a vital workflow and freezing the entire business. If they kept everything running as is, the new mega company became totally unprofitable. They didn't know exactly which parts were necessary to keep the lights on. They needed someone to map the chaos and provide strict mathematical certainty about exactly what could be cut without breaking the machine. Firms like McKinsey, BCG, and Bain walked into these chaotic, post-merger offices as the ultimate corporate cleanup crew. They spent weeks studying how internal information actually moved, mapping every single workflow to calculate exactly which tasks and which personnel could be safely eliminated. To boards terrified of making the wrong cut, these firms offered certainty. They delivered a guaranteed, measurable return to efficiency. By trimming the fat off the biggest corporate mergers in history, these external advisors secured a permanent place alongside the highest levels of corporate leadership. That deal-making boom was built on a fragile base. In the early 2000s, the massive corporate fraud of the Enron scandal broke open. $60 billion in shareholder value evaporated almost overnight. The government slammed strict regulatory oversight back into place. Deal-making dried up, and within months, the consulting industry lost nearly 2/3 of its market value. Facing a frozen private sector, the major consultancies executed a massive pivot. They turned their attention to the government, pitching themselves as the elite modernizers who could finally fix bloated public bureaucracies. This graph tracks how successful that pitch really was. Over the course of the 2000s, federal spending on management consultants tripled. But trading corporate clients for government agencies introduced a hidden risk. Government contracts rarely required measurable cost cuts. Without the strict requirement to deliver efficiency, the core product these firms sold was about to mutate. Look at the United States Air Force. In 2012, they scrapped a massive software modernization project called the Expeditionary Combat Support System. They had spent nearly 10 years and more than $1 billion developing it, with much of that budget going straight to elite consulting fees. The project was totally abandoned without producing a single working tool. Despite $1 billion going up in smoke, no consulting partner was fired. No government official was held responsible. The blame simply vanished. This organizational chart visualizes what happens in these massive public contracts. The project complexity is so vast, and the decision-making is so layered across different departments and external contractors that it becomes impossible to pinpoint the fatal error. Consultants quickly learned that by not solving the original problem, they could keep winning contracts to study it. The product was no longer private sector efficiency. They were now actively selling public sector accountability diffusion. Operating in an environment where avoiding blame was more profitable than delivering results required an entirely new language. Slide decks filled up with phrases like leveraging synergistic partnerships or optimizing sustainable relational opportunities. This highly stylized vocabulary is completely empty. It is designed to sound highly strategic while committing the consultant to absolutely nothing. Executives saw the value in this ambiguity immediately. They began using external consultants as a professional shield when navigating difficult or unpopular internal decisions. If a manager wanted to push through a massive layoff or a risky restructuring, bringing in an expensive advisory firm gave them the ultimate safety net. They could simply point to the slide deck and say, "The report recommends this path." By substituting clear directives with impenetrable jargon, the management consultant transitioned from being an expert problem solver to acting as a highly paid insurance policy for nervous executives. Today, that dynamic has created a glaring contradiction in the business world. Consulting invoices continue to climb higher every year, even as real, measurable outcomes for their clients flatline. This data visualization highlights how the market actually views these firms right now. A recent study revealed that only 13% of businesses felt that consultants actually created more value than they consumed. The massive physical offices and the elite prestige remain completely intact, but the functional utility of the industry is effectively gone. The structural breakdown of corporate consulting isn't happening because the people in the industry lack intelligence. It's happening because they optimized a business model that abandoned creating real value, choosing instead to become an expensive, highly polished mechanism for deflecting blame. For decades, corporate consulting sold an illusion. They presented themselves as masters of strategy, but underneath, they were running massive, heavy-lifting administrative operations. If a company wanted a market entry study, the consultancy would deploy a small army of Ivy League graduates and young MBAs. They spent weeks grinding through interviews, cleaning up endless spreadsheets, and manually drafting financial models. The multi-million-dollar price tag on these projects covered the grueling brute force synthesis, a manual process that required thousands of human hours to complete. These fees operated as a tax on manual data processing. As long as synthesizing information required human labor, the business model was secure. But relying on human grunt work left the entire industry vulnerable to a change in how information is handled. That vulnerability was exposed the moment large language models entered the corporate market. These systems separated the labor of analysis from the final presentation. They commoditized first-draft knowledge work, shrinking tasks that used to tie up a team for weeks into a process that takes a single operator a few minutes. This chart maps manual consulting tasks over time. Look at the steep drop-off. 27% became directly automatable. The fallout was immediate. McKinsey eliminated nearly 2,000 roles, frontline consultants whose primary value was manual research. The pressure reached across all the top firms. Deloitte admitted that its internal workflows, from market research to risk modeling, were being systematically replaced by automated systems. With manual labor now available at the touch of a button, the traditional economics of the firm began to decouple from the actual work being performed. Watching their operational foundation erode, the consulting industry reacted with a reflexive pivot to try and save their revenue streams. The major firms adopted a survival strategy. Since AI was eroding their old product, they would turn around and sell AI transformation directly to their clients. But this move exposed a massive implementation gap. For decades, these firms succeeded by selling general business strategy. However, implementing AI is a deep software engineering and workflow design problem. It is not a challenge you can solve with a slide deck. Traditional consultancies lack the technical capability to build working AI systems. The engineers who actually build this software work at dedicated research labs like OpenAI or Google, not at legacy advisory firms. By attempting to sell complex machine learning integration using theoretical frameworks, these firms guaranteed a collision with operational reality. The United States Patent and Trademark Office offers a look at the consequences of this mismatch. In 2023, Accenture secured a $75 million contract with the USPTO to embed machine learning into the patent examination workflow. The pitch promised that the new system would scan millions of documents, increase processing speed, and prevent errors. The execution was disastrous. The system misclassified applications and failed to identify obvious existing patents. It regularly hallucinated references, pointing to patents that did not exist. The performance was so poor that the Patent Office was forced to enact an outright ban on the use of generative AI in their workflows. This grid represents typical AI integration efforts across the corporate landscape. 90% of AI implementation projects failed to meet their business objectives. The severity of these failures is high enough that 42% of companies abandon their AI initiatives entirely within the first year. The traditional consulting approach to AI is failing because it attempts to solve rigorous workflow engineering problems with superficial strategic advice. While theoretical, outsourced projects collapse, companies that engineer AI from within are finding success in operational reality. Global shipping giant Maersk stands as a direct contrast to the failure at the Patent Office. Instead of hiring an external firm, Maersk bypassed the legacy consultancies entirely. They booked their own internal AI systems to forecast port congestion. Their success came from the architecture. Instead of relying on generalized outside advice, Maersk integrated their specific operational data with real-world logistical constraints. By focusing on practical internal workflow engineering, they created a system that survives contact with reality, rendering the theoretical middlemen obsolete. The financial result of this internal engineering approach is massive. This visualization tracks the outcomes. By integrating an internally built system, Maersk saved over $300 million annually. Compare that green trajectory to the $75 million wasted on outsourced consulting. AI has turned what used to be expensive external strategic advice into a cheap, internally managed operator output. This leaves boards to evaluate a new set of numbers. As technology automates the heavy lifting and internal teams take over the engineering, executives are left to ask what exactly they are paying for when a traditional consultancy walks through the door. Corporate consulting isn't disappearing overnight. What we are actually watching is a massive value stack pulling apart. For decades, large consultancies operated as sealed black boxes. Clients paid a massive premium for a bundled product. Research and slide creation, executive cover, political validation, all rolled into one untrackable invoice. Now, artificial intelligence takes the foundational layer of that bundle, first draft knowledge work, and turns it into a cheap, promptable commodity. AI integration has permanently destroyed the economic justification for the industry's bundled pricing model. Historically, these firms kept their pricing high by maintaining an illusion of exclusivity. They survived by aggressively recruiting the absolute top tier of graduates from elite universities. But the daily reality of that junior work is out in the open. It consists largely of repetitive data gathering and template filling. As that becomes obvious, the prestige inevitably fades. Look at this flow of human capital. The brightest minds are rerouting. Instead of heading to McKinsey or Deloitte, top talent is pouring into deep engineering, quantitative finance, and pure technology. Without that elite talent pool standing behind the logo to justify the premium, those multi-million-dollar slide decks start looking vastly overpriced. The shield of elite prestige is gone. Business leaders can no longer trust a brand name alone, forcing a pivot to a strict outcome-driven audit for any professional service. Business leaders must now replace the illusion of prestige with a rigorous 7-point diagnostic checklist before signing any advisory contract. Question 1. Does the advisor own a real decision or only a document? If they deliver an output and walk away before the consequences arrive, you are paying for executive cover, not strategy. Question 2. Can they explain the specific workflow and physical failure points? Watch what happens when a clean strategy meets your actual databases. Question 3. Do they understand your constraints and real employee incentives? No benchmark model survives an actual internal culture. Question 4. Can they actually implement the change, or do they only recommend it? Any strategic plan that shatters against the friction of your real physical infrastructure is completely worthless on arrival. Question 5. Are they accountable to measurable, audited business outcomes, or do they exit the project before the metrics are even tracked? Question 6. Look at this stacked bar chart. If an AI operator can produce 80% of the visible output in a few minutes, that portion shrinks down to near zero cost. That leaves you paying a massive premium for the remaining 20%. That isolated 20% premium has to be justified entirely by deep, highly specific context.
Question 7. If the slide deck disappeared tomorrow, what actual tangible value would physically remain in your office? If the removal of the presentation leaves the company with nothing, the business is not buying an operational outcome. It is buying an expensive mask. The industries surviving this transition share a single trait. They deliver outcomes that can be measured, audited, and verified, rather than hiding behind glossy corporate branding. We have seen this exact dynamic before. Online booking platforms stripped the margin from traditional travel agents. Commission-free trading apps dismantled the traditional stockbroker model. Corporate consulting is simply the latest prestige industry to face this exposure. Technological unbundling spares no brand. It ruthlessly destroys the margin of any middleman whose primary product relies on basic information gathering. The current threat to consulting isn't the replacement of human judgment by AI. The damage comes from visibility. AI makes the cheap layers of information gathering and deck polish obvious, exposing the gap between expensive advice and execution. The next market premium will not belong to the firm with the most famous historical brand. That premium belongs exclusively to the operator whose judgment and execution survive rigorous inspection when all the slides are stripped away. The market for bundled prestige is finally gone. Professional services are now strictly defined by bare, accountable execution.